And so Bitcoin is solving the problem of just giving us a more efficient way to preserve our economic energy forever. And if you think about a family, if I say to you as the head of a household, you're financially secure, you have enough money to provide for your family now and for the next 4 generations, whatever they might need.
Hey guys, welcome to Everyday Finance. Michael Saylor said that Bitcoin is the hardest money that has ever been made. He did this to show why it is the best way to store value, a source of digital energy, and an unstoppable force in the financial world. Bitcoin has dropped 20% since its all-time high a month ago, putting it in a technical bear market. With prices getting close to $86,000, which would be the lowest they've been since the middle of November, this drop has caused investors to sell their crypto, losing almost $1.6 billion in just 24 hours. Analysts say that the sharp change in market sentiment toward extreme fear could be part of a larger correction, which Bitcoin has gone through before, as it matures. Even though there was a sharp drop, some traders see this as a chance for investors who are willing to wait. They point to Bitcoin's past cycles where similar drops led to strong recoveries. But traders should still be very careful, because large amounts of liquidation between $68,000 and $77,000 could set off a chain of sell orders if prices fall below this range. Short sellers, on the other hand, want prices above $100,000 because they think there will be fewer long liquidation zones there, which will give them an edge. Check out the video.
I think that Bitcoin is an enlightened and peaceful way to settle our differences on a global basis. I think that it, in a way, it demonetizes the incentives for war. If a nation has the majority of its assets in land, you can simply take the land. But if a nation has the majority of its assets in Bitcoin, no amount of violence will allow you to seize their property because it's in cyberspace. So when your property is in your head or in your private possession, there's an incentive for hostile actors to negotiate with you. Whereas, if all your wealth was literally a bar of gold, I could just shoot you and take the bar of gold. I could even bomb your house and take the gold. The gold doesn't get destroyed. So I think that that digital property is a much better, a more secure idea than physical property. I also think that there's $900 trillion of wealth in the world, and half of it is in assets people hold. They hold it for some utility, like they want to use the house or the boat or the warehouse. But the other half of the wealth is just store of value. People just want to preserve their capital for long periods of time without degradation. So Bitcoin's a $2 trillion asset class. There's 450 trillion of physical and financial assets that are 20th century assets. Those assets are degrading due to war, due to inflation, due to entropy, due to chaos, due to competition, due to weather. The cost of that is like 3% a year. So 3% of 450 trillion is 13, 14 trillion dollars a year of just environmental destruction. So as you transform wealth from analog form and physical form to digital form, you avoid and eliminate a lot of misery and anxiety and tragedy. And so Bitcoin is solving the problem of just giving us a more efficient way to preserve our economic energy forever. And if you think about a family, if I say to you as the head of a household, you're financially secure, you have enough money to provide for your family now and for the next 4 generations, whatever they might need. And then I say, well, how does that make you feel? And the answer is, I can take the long view and I can plan for my grandchild's college education, and if I said to you, well, you've got all your money in a bank, the bank just froze your assets, you won't be able to get it out. I'm not sure, you're going to have to leave your house on Monday, and I don't know how you're going to eat, figure it out. Think about how that affects your mindset. And so I think that economic security has an impact on your mental health, your physical health, your your economic welfare, and then also your time horizon. And the really beautiful things in humanity, whether they're Notre Dame or whether they're a park or whether they're a great scientific invention, they're made by people that were economically secure, that could take a long view of things. And Bitcoin provides that foundation to build a better civilization.
A lot of people want Bitcoin because well-known institutions have been buying it to raise money through equity-linked notes. A lot of crypto-related issues have been paid for with this kind of financing, but worries are growing that this source of capital may be reaching its limit. Institutions might cut back on acquisitions if they can't get the money they need from normal sources. This would leave individual investors to navigate the market on their own. Even with these problems, some people think Bitcoin has a lot of potential in the long term, and that short-term problems can be used by smart investors to get in. Nasdaq has asked to list a grayscale exchange-traded fund, ETF, that would invest in Polkadot (DOT) tokens. This shows how uncertain the market is in the cryptocurrency world as a whole. If the SEC agrees, this fund will join Grayscale's growing list of publicly traded crypto funds. This will make the rise of digital assets even more solid in traditional financial markets. See more videos.
At some point in your life, you have a successful business, you're wealthy, you have succeeded in life, you've had a family, you've got respect. And it's inevitable in human condition that as you progress through your life cycle, you become more conservative, more comfortable in your ways, and more comfortable in your assumptions. I don't think you can, as I said, Bitcoin's on a need-to-know basis. You can't expect someone at the end of their career who's been successful with a different set of techniques and technologies and systems of thought to embrace this one. Jamie Dimon didn't invent Facebook either, right? And the people that, if you were to roll the clock back, there was electricity, and it used to be electricity people were the innovators, and then there's AT&T, but AT&T didn't invent Google. And and large banks in the US aren't responsible for giving bank accounts to people in Africa or war zones. So they're thinking about their frame of reference. He or Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger, they have their frame of reference, but they're not 20-something years old in Venezuela or Argentina watching their money melt down a toilet, right? And they're not fleeing from a war zone in Afghanistan or Iraq. And they're not providing banking services to people in Siberia or in Ukraine in the middle of a war, right? So I think that the people that embrace crypto and embrace Bitcoin, they're the new generation. 20-something wants a house, wants a family, wants a life, wants respect, wants to make their way in the world, wants to make a successful career, and wants money. They don't have it. They have to come up with new ideas. A 70-year-old doesn't need those things. Led Zeppelin picked up electric guitars, right? And they created rock and roll, and it wasn't a 50-something classical musician in Carnegie Hall that did it. Even though that musician was probably a genius. You could be a genius. You could be the best musician of your generation. But the point is, it's the 19-year-old that's going to grab the electric guitar and do the new thing. So you're seeing the millennials, the Gen Zs. You'll see people that are of a new generation use new tools and create brilliant new things. And if you're sitting around wondering why, waiting for an 85-year-old at the end of their life to tell you why it's a good idea for you at age 18 to pick up a guitar or to tinker with electricity, or to program your computer, right? Then you're probably the wrong idea, because it's not their job to innovate and create the future. They won't be around to see it. It's the future is for the young and for those who have a need. I lived on Air Force bases my entire life, and I traveled all around the world. And so I think that was a really good formative experience to see the world. My family also, they taught me to read. I mean, they used to encourage me to read a lot, and I read hundreds and then thousands of books, and I was inspired by especially science fiction. Robert Heinlein and Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov, and from a very early age in elementary school, I was thinking I should go to MIT and build spaceships, because that's what the hero does, and have spacesuit world travel. So I think that helped. And then I think when I got to MIT, I met a lot of extraordinarily well-educated people from good backgrounds. And then I encountered some great professors. And I remember one professor walking out saying, I just talked to NASA. This tile fell off the space shuttle. They don't know why it burned off on re-entry, but they want to figure out how to fix it. What do you think we should do? And I was 18 years old, and this guy with a PhD who consulted with NASA scientists was pretty much saying, here's a problem no one in the world's figured out, but I think you, as an 18-year-old, can probably figure it out. I believe in you. So why don't you reason from first principles and solve the problem that nobody else in the universe has ever figured out before? And that gave me an extraordinary amount of confidence. And so I think my upbringing did help. And I think the idea of having that education and encountering those role models where they pretty much say, figure it out for yourself from first principles. Here's the tools you need. And other people have done it before, and we expect you to do it too. I think that really catapulted me into my career. The best thing about it is that you're able to get the attention of people that you can help, right? Sometimes whether it's a corporation like Apple Computer or Tesla, they might respond to your tweets. They might notice you. The ability to go on television and explain to people. If Bitcoin's crashed from 66,000 to 16,000, I get the ability to go on TV and explain that it's okay. We're going to come back. I'm not selling, I'm buying. And I meet a lot of people around the world that say, I was really stressed out, but you gave me hope and you helped me get through a difficult time. And I was inspired by the example. So I see it as, it's a responsibility, but it's an opportunity. And, if you say an intelligent thing and 3 people around the table nod, you help 3 people. But if you can say the same intelligent thing and help 3 million people, it feels pretty good. It feels very, very good to be able to help people and for people to say you made a difference in my life. And I find that to be very motivational. It gets me up in the morning.
Grayscale's decision to possibly list a Polkadot ETF shows that more and more banks are trying to give investors a wide range of crypto exposure. Big companies around the world have been actively looking for regulatory approval for different types of cryptocurrency products, such as those linked to Solana, Cardano, and XRP. There is more support for Polkadot's growing ecosystem, which makes DOT a great choice for widespread use. A number of single-asset crypto funds have already been launched by Grayscale, but most of them are still not listed on any public exchanges. The company has added more products in the last few months, including new ones with meme coins like Dogecoin and governance tokens like LDO and OP. More issuers are trying to get a foothold in the US, so the crypto ETF landscape as a whole is still changing. Changes that are being considered for current products, such as adding staking options and in-kind redemptions, show that digital assets are becoming more widely accepted. Even though the SEC has become less strict on crypto products, full approval for altcoin ETFs is still uncertain. Investors and people who follow the industry are eagerly waiting for the regulator's decision.